Alright, we are back here with Mardu Aristocrats for standard. This hand's a little land heavy, but I think we can keep it. Let's see, looks like we're up against Abzan most likely. Could be Sultai. But, well, I guess we will lead on a scry land here. We really don't want to draw more lands, like that swamp for instance. So, yes, we do have a sideboard now. From last game to this game, I put together the sideboard. We have some more removal, some duresses, chains around them, some things like that. I'm assuming the right place to take Sultai Emissary here, since Temerat comes back from the graveyard anyway. If he takes Temerat, we can always play the Sultai Emissary, sack it to get back the Temerat. And our opponent comes to the same conclusion. Plays a second couple of Temple. So let's see, what do we get now? Mardu Charm. Well, I think we'll just play Outpost here. And then we will have the option to Charm next turn if our opponent plays like a Courser. Or we can play Temerat and a tap land next turn if our opponent doesn't play anything too threatening. So there's a Courser and Abzan Charm on top. So I think that means we probably want to just Mardu Charm. Play a Swamp here, Mardu Charm to kill the Courser. Yeah, so Mardu Charm, kill the Courser. And then next turn we can play Blood-Soaked Champion plus Temerat. And maybe start going to work that way. Abzan Charm for the drawing. That's acceptable. Another scry land. Another Emissary. Alright, so I think we're just going to play Blood-Soaked Champion, Temerat the Murder King, and a second Outpost here. See what our opponent has in store for us. So we might be able to start sacking Blood-Soaked Champions to deal damage. Kind of start grinding our opponent out. Opponent's going to ultimate price Blood-Soaked Champion. Does that mean they're going to kill Temerat too? No. Alright, so we're going to attack with Temerat here, hopefully. Yep, so we get in with Temerat. Get back our Blood-Soaked Champion. Play Sultai Emissary. And play this Bloodfell Caves. So Elsepth is still sort of bad for us, although we can kind of start sacking creatures with Temerat and trying to win that way. Like, it's a little slow, and if our opponent can start gaining life, that's going to be a problem. Otherwise, we should be able to grind them out like that eventually. So there's the 3 soldiers. Another Blood-Soaked Champion. Alright, so how do we want to do this? We can kill Elsepth by doing a lot of sacking. Sack Blood-Soaked Champion. Well, we're playing the Swamp. We want the mana. I don't think we can swing with Temerat, because if that dies, that ruins our main plan for winning. We can also just start going after our opponent and try to grind our opponent out before they can kill us with Elsepth. So we're going to attack Elsepth with our Blood-Soaked Champion. Opponent blocks. Alright, so we will sack Blood-Soaked Champion to deal 2 damage. I think we're going to try to kill our opponent here. Then we'll get back our Blood-Soaked Champion. And we'll leave available another Temerat activation. This also leaves us the option of sacking something to get Temrat back from the graveyard, which is good. I think if our opponent attacks with the soldiers, we'll sack Emissary to get a 2/2, so we can block 2 of them. So it's most likely a Den Protector, which doesn't do a whole lot at the moment. Alright, so let's, we're going to sack this Sultai Emissary, deal 2 damage to our opponent, and get another Bloodsoaked Champion, which is fine. Still go after our opponent for now. Temple of Silence. Oh, there's a Butcher for next turn. That's very good. Butcher might be a way we can steal this game. So we don't really need to attack, do we? No. We'll do that. Play Sultai Emissary. And just pass the turn. This way we can actually sack the Sultai Emissary, which will get us the Butcher face down. So I'm assuming our opponent's going to flip this Den Protector to get back. I don't even know. Courser? Ultimate price, I guess, is fine, but it doesn't really kill anything that's too profitable. So there's the Den Protector. Oh, getting back Abzan Charm? Okay. Well, Abzan Charm is protection against our Butcher. More tokens from our opponent. Guess our opponent can also use the Abzan Charm to put counters on something. So our opponent is going to put a counter on our Temrat and a counter on Den Protector. Okay. And then there's another Abzan Charm, I'm assuming. So we take 4 from Den Protector. Well, now we have to sack Sultai Emissary. To deal 2 damage. There's the Abzan Charm. Which is acceptable. Now we sack Butcher to deal 2 more damage. I think we have to put 2 of it at Elsepth because we can't really let it ultimate. And put the other 2 at our opponent here. So not redirect. So our opponent's down to 8. Another Butcher of the Horde. Well, we can't do both. How can we do this? So we can kill Elsepth. I think that's how we want to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we flip Butcher of the Horde. Do we even attack Elsepth? I think we don't. I think we gotta attack our opponent. Attack our opponent. Sack our Manifest to get lifelink. Get back Bloodsoaked Champion. Cast Bloodsoaked Champion from our hand. And now this way our opponent has to... Our opponent can't kill us, I don't think. 9, 10, 13. They're not even especially close to killing us. Courser. So now our opponent needs to be able to deal with 2 Butchers, or else we just win. Or have something like a Wingmate Rock that can block both of them. Otherwise, Otherwise, I think we got it. Alright, so we take a bunch of damage. Opponent destroys our Butcher, so there's one Butcher down. Question is, does our opponent have removal for a second Butcher? Fleecemate Lion, only one card left in hand. If it's not a Hero's Downfall, then we have this. So we can black, black, white, red. Play Butcher. And that gets there. Didn't have an answer for the second Butcher. Sweet. Alright. Abzan, game 1 down. See if we can do it again game 2. So sideboarding, what do we want against Abzan? Ultimate Price takes care of some things, but not everything. Crackling Doom does seem sort of important here. I think we might get rid of this Alicia. So yeah, I promised to explain the sideboard. Sideboard, we didn't have it the first 2 games. Trying to figure out what we wanted in there. Ended up with 4 dresses. If you have Thought Seizes, you can play those instead, but since we're a budget deck, we have 4 dresses. 2 Ultimate Price, some more removal. Magma Spray, more quick interaction. Wild Slash is also fine in that slot. 4 copies of Ash Cloud Phoenix. Haven't really brought them in yet. They kind of seem like a sweet, slow way to grind out like a control deck with Butchers and Temerets, but I don't know. Another Sorin. We also have a couple Sorins in the main deck, and 2 Crackling Dooms. I think we definitely want Crackling Doom here. Can get rid of Alicia and do we want Jeering Instigator? Maybe 1 copy of Jeering Instigator. Ultimate Price deals with Courser, but it doesn't deal with a lot of the big problems. I guess it's better if our opponent has Wingmate Rock. Maybe we want to keep Jeering Instigator and go down a Temeret. Yeah, let's try that. So we'll just bring in a couple Crackling Dooms. See how that works. 1 land. Lots of good cards, but alright, we gotta ship that. Can't keep a 1-lander. This one is slightly better. Also have a Bloodstained Mire now. All this while still coming in under budget. Nomad Outpost. So hopefully we don't get Thought Seized and can get down this Outpost Siege, which would be excellent. Our opponent's on the do nothing plan so far. Well, I think we're going to play Emissary here. It's better against removal. And I don't think we're just going to do the naked draw with Humble Defector, even though we mulliganed. Ooh, our opponent kept a hand they maybe shouldn't have kept. Bloodstained Mire. So since there's an Herb Organ play, we can actually tap this for black mana. So we don't need to sack it yet, because we really would like to draw 1 more land to start playing these Outpost Sieges. So we'll just play Flame Wake here, and start beating down. Off to a fast start. So our opponent has gotten out of their little bit of mana trouble. Come on, land for Outpost Siege. Temeret. Alright, so we are going to attack with both. A little worried about a Drowned in Sorrow, but I think we are going to go with face down Jeering Instigator. This way, if our opponent plays like a Siege Rhino or something next turn, we can potentially flip our morph, and no one ever expects Jeering Instigator. That's the beauty of Instigator. The real purpose is to be able to flip it and sack the creature to a Butcher or something, but this works too. There's a swamp that we actually really wanted to draw. Evolving Wilds. Alright, that's a little slow, but We will play, I think we'll play Humble Defector here. And keep attacking. Actually, we can play, I'm so stupid. I was just talking about how Urborg let us tap our lands for mana. I could have played an Outpost Siege here, but this actually works out fine too, assuming our opponent doesn't have the second copy of Drown. If our opponent has double Drown, then this didn't work out. Otherwise, we have a pretty fast, we have a 2-turn clock actually, and we can follow up with Outpost Siege. Fleecemane Lion, alright. I'm wondering if we should, maybe we play Outpost Siege on dragons? Or, yeah, on dragons. This way, if our opponent blocks, we can actually attack through our opponent's team. If our opponent blocks, we get to kill the Fleecemane with the damage from Outpost Siege. I kind of like this plan. Also is a little bit of protection against a Drown. So our opponent blocks Temerat. When Temerat dies, we get to ping the Fleecemane Lion. And get rid of that. Now we can play our Temple here, get a Scry. Next turn we can play our second Outpost Siege, Sultai Emissary. I think we will keep Sultai Emissary. It's actually not bad with Temerat in the graveyard, because actually, well, that's one of the sweet things about Temerat. It's a sack outlet from the graveyard. So we can actually like tap our Humble Defector to draw 2 cards, and then sack it to Temerat in response to its give it to your opponent trigger. There's Siege Rhino. Yeah, I think we're going to go on the Humble Defector plan here. So we can tap Humble Defector to draw 2. With the trigger on the stack, we can sack it. To get Temerat back, also deals 1 damage to our opponent. And we get to draw 2 cards. Now we can either play Temerat and Sultai Emissary, Butcher of the Horde, or another Outpost Siege. There's some appeal in just getting in with the Butcher right now, sacking the swamp for haste. But I think we're gonna wait for next turn. I think we'll play Temerat, play Sultai Emissary. We still have our opponent pretty far under the gun, because we can sack for quite a bit of damage with Temerat. Because Temerat's ability does 2 damage, and the Outpost Siege does another 1, so we are pretty close to just sacking out and winning. Plus, we couldn't have given Butcher lifelink there, which is something that we like to do. So this was kind of the whole reason that I got on the plan of this deck. Our opponent's going to get aggressive with Siege Rhino. That might mean there's another Siege Rhino waiting. If you don't have a blocker, I don't think you can make that attack. But that was kind of the idea, sort of like the old Blood Artist. Outpost Siege on dragons, lets you do 1 damage. Alright, so Temerat down, Outpost Siege down. Well, now I guess it's Butcher time. So you can red, black, red, or white. White, black. So we get to play Butcher of the Horde. Get to play Bloodsoaked Champion. Now we can sack Bloodsoaked Champion to give Butcher haste. Get back our Flamewake Phoenix. Another one of the nice synergies in this deck. Attack with both. See, if we could have done this with the Outpost Siege out, we would have just won the game. Would have been able to sack out for the damage. then I think we're going to sack this Sultai Emissary for lifelink. It is nice protection against Drown and Sorrow, but our opponent doesn't have enough mana to drown and kill Butcher, so it's kind of an either-or situation. If they kill the Butcher, then we have a bunch of creatures left. If they drowned, then we have Butcher left. And we actually manifested a Humble Defector, which means we can flip it, draw the cards, sack it to Butcher, keep that nice synergy going. And our opponent cannot recover. Sweet! Well, yeah. Well, that's Abzan control. Our synergy and Sultai Emissaries got the job done.